Hello, this is T.West and welcome to AfroSynergy. I am going to show you a report from Al Jazeera which clearly shows Africans from various countries living and working in Libya who must hide because anti-Gaddafi people are killing them. In fact, as I have shown in some of the earlier videos, they have been slaughtering blacks and putting their bodies on public display. Now, of course, Barack Obama is not going to say anything about this.
The attackers came in the night. They set fire to this workshop where Sudanese immigrants were making furniture. The fire destroyed their clothes, their tools, everything. All that's left are a few charred scraps of cloth.
Libyans did this. They're against us because we're black, because of the colour of our skin. They think we're mercenaries, but we're not.
Eastern Libya is rife with rumours about African mercenaries brought in by Gaddafi to put down the uprising. Attacks like this are increasingly common, and some African workers have been imprisoned. No one with black skin is entirely safe. What we're looking at here is the ugly face of the revolution. When law and order break down, other forces can rise to the surface. In this case, racism against black workers. These poor immigrants live in squalid conditions on the outskirts of Benghazi. They work on building sites or in factories. Some of them want to use Libya as a stepping stone to get to Europe. But for many, the dream of a better life is turning into a nightmare. These Nigerians are so scared of reprisals that they won't venture outside. This young man's name is Courage, and he needed it a few days ago when he was chased by an angry mob.
When I was coming from my work, I looked at my back, there were cars after me, chasing me. They said I should stop. I can't stop because there were all the cutlass and dangerous weapons with them. I was running for my life. I wish they caught me, that would be the end of my life.
These are violent and uncertain times in Libya. Many African workers say they felt safer under the Gaddafi regime, a stinging criticism of a revolution that aims to bring freedom, tolerance and equality for all. Jackie Rowland, Al Jazeera, Benghazi.
Western media is not going to say anything about this. Nigeria is not going to say anything about this. South Africa is not going to say anything about this, and Gabon is not going to say anything about this. Why did I mention those three African nations? It is because those three African nations voted along with the United States, France, and Britain, former colonial powers, former enslavers of African people. They voted for the slaughter that you're now witnessing in Libya, with more than 100 missiles that have been fired into Libya. Why have we not heard Mr. Obama say anything about the killing and slaughtering of blacks in Libya by anti-Gaddafi forces? Not Gaddafi, but anti-Gaddafi forces. No, Barack Obama's father, Barack Sr., would not have quite experienced this as a Kenyan, even under the brutal rule of the British. And certainly his mother would never have experienced this. Now, why? Why have we not heard Barack Obama say anything about those in Libya who were the first to go on the offense and start committing the massive violence in Libya? Where did these people acquire the tanks and military machinery? Most of those weapons were taken by force, which included the burning alive of some Libyan soldiers, and then they laid these soldiers out in the open so that people could see the burned bodies and indicated that it was Gaddafi's forces who killed these men, which was a lie. Have you foolish people not learned the lessons of recent history? You armed Al-Qaeda to fight against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. And then those same weapons were turned upon your own heads. Now you dote upon traitors and murderers in Libya and call it their struggle for freedom. Nonsense. Mr. President, I am ashamed of you. When Muammar Gaddafi asked Obama what would he do if people in America started acting this way in certain cities towards him, by taking up weapons and threatening to overthrow the government in the United States, Mr. Obama had no answer. And he knows that it is not only possible but probable in the United States of America today, which has a very rotten and evil component to it. Before some of you get all besides yourself, we know that there are also very good people and a very good side to America and many of its people in America. But I must tell you the whole truth. You can throw away billions of dollars killing the people of Africa and of the East, but it shall not buy you a promising future. You have corruption all throughout America. You have corporations who are taking over America more and more, who are buying politicians wholesale, who are going against the workers and against the unions of America so that they may become richer and more wealthy. This is what these devils have been carrying out in the third world countries for decades. You can fire hundreds and hundreds of missiles within minutes, claiming that you are saving lives. But it shall not save you when the pestilence soon comes home to your own cities, your own suburbs, your own towns and rural communities. And it is coming. Mark my words, it is coming. 10 years ago, I indicated that if the United States went to war in Iraq and Afghanistan, its reward would be bankruptcy. 22 years ago, I wrote a book entitled New World Order, AIDS, Genocide, and Theology, in which I wrote that America would have a black president within our lifetime and this generation. But it will be at a time when the country is financially bankrupt. And we saw what happened in 2008 as George Bush was about to walk out the door and Obama was about to walk in. Mr. Obama, you are that man, but you have become a slave of the office of the president. You need to do the right thing. You must do the right thing. Instead, you have become more and more a tool of the Zionists. Before you became president, as you were speaking at an AIPAC meeting, you indicated that Jerusalem should be one united Jerusalem and the capital of the Jewish state. Well, you were taken aside the next day and told by others that you cannot have that position. You cannot say that. And you have to back away from it. So that was immaturity. But I am saying to you today, you once said of Reverend Jeremiah Wright that you thought you knew him, but discovered you apparently did not. Apparently, we don't know what you are morphing into. But actually, we do. And we don't like what we're seeing. We observe as the Western media go into a feeding frenzy in reporting what this or that European nation hit and struck in Libya with their weapons of death that flies in the night. Yes, thieves often come in the night. We even heard of Germany finally joining in with this death-feeding frenzy against Libya. Mr. President, you will eat your words about not putting U.S. troops on the ground in Libya, because I tell you this day that this shall expand beyond Libya. It is not what you think it is. And it is not something that you will have done with quickly, and it's over. This is T.West with Afro Synergy.